Yes. Greetings. Kubantu abasibukela ku Facebook Career. Welcome to Car Radio. This is the day, the Sport Buzz with myself, Nkosy SA. That was my mother, Queen of the Palace, ethi ngizobegezela on her album, on the latest album. Namhlanje, as you know, as promised, that I'm going to be bringing you news and sports in details what is happening around sports. Sometimes in sports we may think sports you can just only play, get results and stuff, but it's human beings who are playing. I'm saying this because of this news of today. They're going to bring you something different, the thing that you didn't know that is happening behind. This is what I'm here for in sports here right now. I'm just going to give you just what I'm topping today's stories. I'm going to be topping stories of the Newcastle takeover. I'm also going to be talking about the vaccine in COVID-19, the stories involving COVID-19, and also there are things that are happening around the world that affect sports as well, like the Afghanistan and the Taliban thing. It's all going and it still affects sports as well, since you know that there are also women in sports. But before I got carried away on those news, maybe let me start on a few scores that I have for NBA, because you know NBA is still continuing. I'm gonna start from Tuesday. We had a game, Yama Clippers, Nama Nuggets 103-102, and then Knicks were hosting Pacers, of which Yama Knicks they won 125-104, and then we had Ama Rockets hosting Wizards, of which Yama Rockets they won home 125-19, and then we have Bulls against the Cavaliers, of which Yama Bulls they did 131-95, and then yesterday as well. And we have Ama Grizzlies, Nama Bucks, of which Ama Grizzlies are winning 87-77 from Ama Bucks. And then we had another trash from Lakers. These guys, I think maybe it's because they're using new players, or I can say they're testing other players, how they would play, how they're going to use them, because we have no names like LeBron James and Westbrook, because we also, when we're looking at Lakers, we're looking all those icon names. And then Lakers were beaten by Suns 117-105, of which it was today. And then we have Pistons against Spurs 115-105. Must basically losing it up. And then we had the game Yama Hawks Ebidlala, of which Hawks they lost home against the Cavaliers, of which they did 99-96. Then Pelicans were hosting Magic. Then Pelicans didn't want Magic. They did 104-86. Mavericks 111-101 from Jazz. And then Warriors they fought against the Nuggets. Warriors won 118-15. And then the last match, Clippers against the Kings. The Kings they showed who is sitting on the throne. They trashed them with 113-98 home. And then again, I continue. As I continue, we are going to World Cup qualifiers. We had the African games that were playing yesterday. We had Sudan drawing against Guinea 1-1. Then Morocco beat Guinea-Bissau 5-0 on the World Cup qualifiers. This is it on the scores. Now let me get into the news today. Firstly, I'm going to be talking about ngizoqala kuphi nje Nkosi yami. There is lots that is happening, but ngizoya later kuma papers ukuthi thina ama paper, and then ngizobe sengiqala kwi-basketball since kade nginikeza i-NBA. Nets are still unclear of Ivy's vaccination intentions. Lapha-ke bakhuluma ngomdlali Ivy who's playing for ama-Brooklyn Nets, of which-ke ama-laws kwi-basketball, ama-Brooklyn Nets are every player have to be vaccinated, and this guy hasn't been vaccinated. He's not the only player who didn't get vaccinated. There's other sports code as well. And maybe let me just go and start on Newcastle before I go. There's a soccer team that is called Newcastle United that is playing in England. And Newcastle, we know it as a rising team, is a team that is not sitting on the top of the table or below the top of the table. Usually it's in the middle or below in the league. And today I'm talking about Newcastle. Newcastle take over today. Any news you can hear from today, Newcastle can be owned by a company from Sudan. And maybe let me do like this.
Ongoing, hasn't it, for a long time, 18 months in fact, but it's believed that an agreement could be reached very soon indeed. We've got a live with Keith Downey coming up.
And they are saying here the team will be sold at 18% shares from Isud-led Constant ownership will be taken over. Before last year iwithdrawile because this company from Saudi Arabia didn't want they wanted to issue a ban in sports, which is a TV channel of which is streamer Ebola. It was banned in Saudi Arabia because it was broadcasting it was broadcasting English Premier League illegally, with streaming illegally. So they wanted that issue to be solved, and then every yonke into yagcina ingahambanga ngendlela last year, but this year everything is going as planned. Today, even right now, we can hear different news. You can hear that Newcastle has a new owner from Saudi Arabia as well. These guys, they've made it possible after 14 years of management here from Mike Ashley, of which again I ushilu waikhulumela from himself. He doesn't have a problem if there's a person who's coming to buy a team or to own a team. He said he didn't mind, but he wanted the rightful candidates because he loved the team. Sitting for 14 years, owning the club was difficult for him, as we know that you have to manage funds, you have to sign players, you have to sign managers, and also take care of facilities. At this point right now, this ownership from Saudi-led consortium that is going to be taking over is looked to be promising that it's going to fix facilities first. Last year they've once said that it's going to fix facilities, but they focus on facilities. But we might see something new. We might see the new Newcastle as these owners are coming in. We've seen owners coming in from different countries, especially these guys or Qatar, Saudi Arabians. These guys, when they buy a team, they splash. When I say they splash, they take lots of cash and buy players and sign managers as well. This guy is coming in this club. I think January we might expect signings, not just signing big signings, because I can just recap maybe like 10 years back, before you've seen Man City doing this good. There were new management and new ownership in the club, and then everything changed. When I say 10 years, maybe 10 years, they say let's take back 20 years, step back. Man City wasn't like this before 20 years. After 20 years, they've built the club, but we might see Newcastle being the big club as well because of this new ownership. They say they want to take care of the club, and the fans are so happy. I discussed the situation like this before of Arsenal, and this guy is Spotify, the owner of Spotify, wanting to buy the team. He was prepared with $2 billion to buy the club, and the owners of the club, the family, they didn't want it to sell the club because they're not interested in money. They love this club, they're doing everything for them, but the fans are expecting, they're split in half. Most of fans, they're expecting new things from Arsenal. Things have changed, and this guy is still interested. But here we are in Newcastle, we're going to hear big news on big news transfers on January because of this ownership. But I'm going to broadcast on Tuesday or on Thursday, updating you on the situation, what is happening. Maybe let me just quickly continue with my news because I was still on Newcastle. I can talk lots of things about this news, but I was overwhelmed and so excited of the club getting new ownership. We're going to see new competition in our league. A Brighton player arrested of sexual assault. That was yesterday, and the name of the player is not revealed to protect the player because the guy is in late 20s. And then moving on, we have Callum Robinson at 20. Callum Robinson is didn't take a vaccine. Maybe let me do like this.
Two-man here, it's your personal choice, and my choice at this moment in time. I haven't been vaccinated. I know, as you said, there's managers and people that will want you to do it, which is right in their way of what they think, but everyone has their choice and what they want to do.
Ukhuluma the concern with the vaccination. He said he doesn't want to get vaccinated. It's his choice ukuthi anga vaccinate, and as you know, since I've mentioned, still COVID-19 affects sports, affects us all in sports, and there's this thing that is going on social media that should the players be vaccinated, because now we're getting a full stadium packed with players. I'm still going to cover a similar story of that, and then there have been questions circulating around that should the players get concerned and get vaccinated for COVID-19. I don't know myself, but my view in this, it can be their choice. But another thing, remember, these guys they're playing qualifiers currently at the moment. They're gonna need to travel in future, and then traveling restrictions will be too much, and they will be like, you're gonna need to get vaccinated so that you can travel to another country. I think everyone in the world, the young to the old, should get vaccinated so that you can able to do things and move around, because you've seen that if you're not vaccinated, there's so many restrictions. We don't want to do this, we don't want to get that, we don't want to get ourselves into that situation, especially here in sports. You might not play in the games. Like this player of NBA wasn't in the gym because he wasn't vaccinated. He's going to lose 2 matches that he's going to play for net, and those situations I'm talking about is you should get vaccinated. When you play sports, I think it should be compulsory to get vaccinated, because you're going to travel around the world. They're going to travel. They're going to be more travel for a person who plays sports. Travel is a must. Travel, even if you like it or not, you're gonna still travel around the world. Moving on, the false news or the rumors that are speculating around, they say Cristiano Ronaldo has been talking with Suoane and asking him to change the tactics. By the way, those news when Nkosy was on the meeting. By the way, Nkosy is a manager for Manchester United, who in these days are rising to ranks because because of signing of Ronaldo. They also have another story that their shares, Manchester United shares, increased after Ronaldo arrival, but that's another news from another day. And on this story, they're saying they've seen Ronaldo talking with Nkosy. We know that they previously they were former teammates in the club, and now Nkosy is coaching and Cristiano Ronaldo is still playing, and they were seen talking, and they say people are saying that Nkosy was given advice of tactics by Ronaldo. And on a press conference after the match, he laughed at that. I watched the press conference. He laughed at the situation and said, what we were talking about. This is what he said. What we were talking about was between us, but concerning tactics, he said he don't know, and laughed at the situation. He's the manager. He's the one who takes decisions. I don't know why people were saying all those things. Rangers boss Steven Gerrard is concerned, and he calls for more action to tackle abuse after Glenn Kamara was booed. The situation includes the player, Kamara, who's playing at the Rangers. His boss is Steven Gerrard, the legend from Liverpool. We know him. Kamara was booed during most of the matches, and Steven Gerrard he talked on a Zoom meeting last few days that there need to be certain measures that are taken in this matter of racism, because there's been a racism in the previous matches where they were playing, especially in England and Scotland. The Scottish League needs to take measures on the situation of Kamara, because after he got the red card previous match he played, after he got a red card, there were measures that have to be taken because he was booed, and it was not the first time, and there were people who were saying certain words, and there need to be measures that are taken off the racism. And racism is so serious in England and Scotland when it's coming to soccer especially, and when you get black players, they get racism. Like Rudiger last year got race on the game against Manchester City, he gets booed, and the people who were talking and whispering names that I can't call in this show because the situation is sensitive. I can talk the whole day about this situation of racism in sports alone. In other countries, there are a different way where they handle the situation. Maybe talking about racism, let me just go to the story of a fan who was sentenced 8 weeks in prison on online abuse. This guy caught on social media that he posted something that is not okay. The 50-year-old posted something they posted something on social media. Maybe let us hear Ogutige Batini on the story.
Footballer online. Now, 3 weeks ago, Scott McCluskey, 43 years old from Runcorn, was given a suspended 14-week prison sentence, so he didn't actually go to jail. But today, the magistrate here, the district judge here at Birmingham Magistrates Court, decided that Simon Silwood, a 50-year-old man from Randall Close in Kings Winford, should be jailed for a racist abuse that he posted online about Romain Sawyers.
Yes, that is the man who was caught on social media. He posted something that is too sensitive, and there are things that I can't mention. Maybe I'll get to mention when I have courage to say it, because like I told you, this racism thing is so big in sports, and it affects lots of us, especially when you're going to overseas or going to other countries where there's most race. Like for instance, when you're here in South Africa, most people are black, and then when you're white, maybe you're gonna get that that's looked from other people. And when you go to other countries like England, when there's most whites, and then you're gonna have a problem when you're black. So it's flows. I don't know. I think on the stories, even kids, they are not taught when they're young that what they're doing is wrong, and then they grow with this thing, and then it's just grows in families. And then I think this thing needs to be taken serious. For everyone who's listening into the show or watching here on Facebook, on YouTube, please tell your cousins, your friends, teach them that it is wrong to be racist, and it touches a lot, and there are lots of things that are happening around. And this guy got arrested just to post something just to post the content on one of the Facebook groups that he was saying about the other race. It is wrong to be racist. Let me continue on my stories. Okay, ngizoqala ngithi kanje.
Totally agree with it.
I'll still try my luck. If they turn me away, go to the pub.
Well, what good is it going to do? I mean, because you've got vaccinated and you've got a thing that you can show.
We've already seen some Premier League clubs conduct COVID spot checks at games. Well, from Friday, many sports fans in Scotland will need to prove they've been fully vaccinated to attend matches.
The vaccine passport scheme will take place at all fixtures with crowds at bigger than 10,000. So Premiership matches at Tynecastle, Pittodrie and Ibrox will be among the first impacted.
Fans have gradually been returning to ground.
So what they're saying here is that since the stadiums have opened, like I said before, in Scotland they are opened, fans are going to get vaccinated because the laws are changing. They are saying now, since all the fans are allowed in the stadium, so now the restriction will be each and every fan should get vaccinated because so that everyone will be protected on COVID and COVID-19. So some of the fans, most of the fans, they agree with the situation. They're gonna get 2 shots, and they also have another laws for the young ones how they're gonna get into the stadium. But like I said before, this vaccine thing is so serious, and it's just to get safe. Let's just hear from the fans what they're saying about the situation. They said something on Sports and News.
Or vaccinated against COVID-19.
Totally agree with it.
I'll still try my luck. If they turn me away, go to the pub.
Well, what good is it going to do? I mean, because you've got vaccinated and you've got a thing that you can show, it doesn't mean that you're not going to catch it.
I had COVID about a year ago and I was in the hospital, so I know what it's about, so I would rather have the double vaccination and know I'm safe to come to these.
Yes, those are the fans from Scotland, the supporters for different teams. They are talking, they say they're happy to get vaccinated, to get into the stadium for the safety of the players and for themselves and other family and other people around them. And it's what I've said before, and it is what it is. We need to get vaccinated, all of us. Even if you play sports or don't play sports, you need to get vaccinated because same like sports, there are places where you go that you won't be allowed. Already here in South Africa, there are some of the places that you can't enter when you are not vaccinated. So this is how serious getting vaccinated is. And continuing on my last story before the show ends, let me go to Afghanistan. There's something that happened since in Afghanistan there is this Taliban thing. Since Taliban taken over in Afghanistan, it's affected most of things in sports, especially these things, the rights for women. There were no rights for women, and mind you, these things happen. People were weren't able to go out of the country, and just imagine this, Taliban, since they taken over, so that means the women won't play sports anymore. So one of the ladies was interviewed in Sky Sports News, and there's something that she talks about. Maybe before I get into the story, it's so very, very touching to see this thing happening in Taliban. It's touching everyone. The people who are playing sports as women, they get a lot of abuse, and we've heard stories there that a lot of things that are happening, they don't get rights as women. That calls for attention for most attention in the world, and in sports it touches lots of things. So maybe let me just go to the lady who plays a sport, who plays a soccer who's a captain for Afghanistan soccer team. He said something on Sky's Sports News when she was interviewed.
Love, and they really worked so hard for the past 20 years. They loved this game so much that they really wanted to do everything, go through hell to just get to practice. And now that's been taken away from them. And there's no choice for them. They can't even get out of their house. And it just breaks my heart that they were fighting through so many small battles, but now it's almost like the game is over.
So that was the captain for Afghanistan women reporting that some of the clubs, some of the squad was taken, was finally evacuated. So they were taken to Australia, and then to give in. To be assisted on how they continue, and this lady is saying he's going to continue playing sports, and they say they want to prove this captain is saying she wish that they can represent Afghanistan if they are not in Afghanistan, to show the Taliban if you are in Afghanistan or not Afghanistan, we can represent women and represent Afghanistan in soccer. And I wish something that can be done with other women who are still there and who are still doing things, like those business ladies, those people who are doing most of the things like playing sports, or the owners of the companies, or in the top level who are doing things, the modelers. I want them, if they can get out and represent Afghanistan, to show this Taliban that how important they are, because women are important in this world that we're living in, and especially even in sports, they've been taken very serious. Everything, every measure. Like there's other story. I'm just gonna bring the full story. Maybe let me just go straight into what I'm going to say about this women. There's a story from football. Maybe let me just go ahead and read what the Sky Sports News said about this story. No more silence. NWSL players return to the pitch. The Panabakuluma with the incident that happened there. Paul Reilly was sacked as North Carolina Courage head coach following the allegations of sexual misconduct towards female players. Players stopped in the 60 minutes to link the arms gesture, recognizing the 6 years since Manashin. Okay, here they're explaining ukuthi ucoach obecoacha in North Carolina amantombazane, Paul Reilly was sacked as a manager umuntu wesilisa obecoacha abantu besifazane kwi-soccer. He was sacked because there were assaults akade ehamba around ukuthi he harassed women sexually, and there is another concern as well. See, as I talked about this Taliban thing, it's another story in women's sports that is touching lots of things that need to be focused on in sports. We need to need to take precautions on sports, women in sports, because we don't know what they're facing out there. And the concern from this story is this: as you the men's have the coach with that are males, and the females, they have different coaches. They have females, they have males. Firstly, to myself, when I seen that the women in soccer, they have male coaches, I was so concerned that one man can manage so lots of women. There is nothing that is going to happen. It was just a caution for me and for others. And also US Soccer Women Committee were concerned about this, that the managers that are hired are males, and also they hire females as well, but those one who were males were alert at the first place. 10 years back they were alert, and still they are managers who are males in soccer. I don't know what is going to happen. I think women have to be given chances to given chances to be also managers in different sports, not in soccer alone, because to be managed by a man and you're a woman, it's so different and so weird to experience. I'm not the woman, but if I can get a coach who is a woman, that can be weird for me, and I wouldn't like that to happen, because lots of things that can happen, behavior wise, things won't be normal in the club. So I need to be managed by a male. And also as well, we have, maybe the concern should be from the owners of the club as well. In the owners of the club, we have male who are owning the football club, so owning the companies that are running sports, women's sports. So that's alone as well. There need to be some things that are done. I think women have to equip themselves, and they have to give a chance to sit on those positions, to be the managers, to be the owners of the club, so that it can be fully women ezo-own abantu besifazane kuphela, like everything, management, trainers, the owner of the club, the coaches, everyone should be women, so that they will be comfortable. Because looking at the story, I think it's not the first time this thing's happening. There've been ones before in US as well. I think the concern is mostly in US of the sexual assaults in different sports, not just in soccer, even in basketball. There've been stories as well that have been going around that women who had managers who are males, they were getting sexually harassed, and those situations were taken care of. But I don't think they're taking care of the managers that well, because their clubs are still male owned, and there are still other clubs that are managed by male who are managers or coaching the clubs. I think myself, from the story, I end there. Ngisa lapho. Let's go to papers now. I think we pick a platform of which is soccer. I'm just gonna go to papers. What are they saying on the papers? I think I'm doing this for the first time, reading papers. Soccer, what is happening. So let me start here by Daily Express. Gareth Bale, Marcelo, Mario Diaz, and Luka Jovic have been told they can leave Real Madrid by Carlo Ancelotti. Okay. On the story, what I see is this: Real Madrid is building, like I told you, they are forming a new squad. They are forming a new beast squad that is going to play, including other players that are not yet in the club. Big names like Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, Paul Pogba. This club wants to sign the big names and new players, so they are just offloading the old ones now, and they say they need to get some of the club in transfers on January. And then it continues. Liverpool are still owned 8-figure sum by Barcelona in 28 deal. Lapha ke i-deal yayenziwe ke kuthengwa Coutinho, so Barcelona is still paying. They're still paying Liverpool. That's debt, 8-figure debt. So I'm a million zero. So they're still paying Barcelona. So as you know, Barcelona is still on debt. So Barcelona is facing lots of things. It's facing financial issues. It's facing this losing of the club. The club is not scoring or winning. Is not hungry as well. They need to sack the coach. It has been confirmed that after a Real Madrid match, Ronald Koeman will be sacked in Barcelona, and they're gonna get a new manager. But who is gonna be a manager? They're still looking for candidates. But Xavi is one of those candidates that can play. That can be a manager for Barcelona. Lautaro Martinez and Milan Skriniar could still be forced out into Inter Milan. Another situation. Inter Milan, the defending champions this season. They offloaded Romelu Lukaku and Ashraf Rahim. Lukaku to Chelsea and Rahim to PSG, but the funds they weren't able to cover the funds that they wanted. They still short. They still losing as a club, and they still want to offload Lautaro Martinez and Skriniar. They're saying they are forcing them, even if they go to loan, as they need to do that as well, so that they can cover some funds that they lost during COVID-19. Manchester United value has just jumped to 550 million euros, $500 million. This club is costing $500 million since Ronaldo returned to the Old Trafford. Big up to the man. This guy is so good. This guy has built his name. And just by moving to the club, you make the club more and more richer. Big up to Ronaldo, big up to CR7. As they say, it is the GOAT, he is the real GOAT. The reports racist in English football are up and more 50% this season. Just like I mentioned in news, the racism in England, bro. The racism in England is still increased. It's still there. It's over 50% this season. That is too much, and I don't know how the players are handling the situation, but hey, I wish everything goes well. I wish people change. I wish people they notice what they do. It's really affects people emotionally, and they can even affects them physically, and they won't perform as they planned. Tottenham are one of the clubs keeping an eye on Antonio Rudiger's contract with Chelsea. So Rudiger is one of the central backs, and also right back and the left back. So Rudiger hasn't renewed his contract with Chelsea. He might leave Chelsea because Juventus, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid are eyeing on the strike, and also Tottenham are in the competition. Bayern is the favorite. I don't know what Rudiger will do, but Rudiger lately before Thomas Tuchel, Rudiger wasn't getting gameplay, and he wasn't known at that time. After Tuchel took over as a manager from Chelsea, Rudiger was getting time play, and he was doing very well, and he is so very good in such a way that most of the teams now, they don't look Rudiger as one of the defenders, but is looking Rudiger as one of the best defenders, as Bayern is still going to want to sign him. Mind you, this past window they've signed Upamecano from RB Leipzig, the central back, and they want to sign another central back from Chelsea, Antonio Rudiger. But you don't know what is going to happen. We hope he's still going to stay in Chelsea, because Thomas Tuchel took care of him, he raised him, and this is why he gets the name that he has. Kylian Mbappe has surprisingly entered the talks over a new deal from Paris Saint-Germain, according to the mother. I don't know about that. I think those are rumors, and We're just gonna continue and with the flow. Harry Winks is interested in an overseas loan move to January, despite having options with number Tottenham or Premier League rivals. Benny Leno could seek a January move away from Arsenal because of desire to stay in Germany's World Cup plans. Leno, by the way, is a goalkeeper for Arsenal. He say he wants to leave Arsenal, which is not the first time, because I don't know what is happening. Arsenal is drawing down and down and down, and there are a lot of things that are happening in Arsenal. But again, we hope Arsenal rise again and be team that we knew when Thierry Henry was there, and we heard that there was an owner who wanted to buy the club, and they didn't want the owner. But I think they need new ownership. They need new stuff, and they need to sack Michael Arteta, because he's not been doing very well. Yes, he has an FA Cup, but he's not doing so well in league. The club is currently below number 10, and that is so disappointing. Let's go to the Daily Mirror. It is Steve Bruce will quickly be removed as a Newcastle manager. Okay, but on the second one, George Klopp plans to see the world when he calls time of being the manager. Marcus Rashford gave Manchester United the boost by playing and scoring twice in behind closed doors friendly against Blackburn at Carrington on Wednesday afternoon. Marcus Rashford, we hoping my man, you come back, because he was not 100%. Erling Haaland has reported received the double your money contract offer as the transfer speculation continues in. So, wow, this one, according to me, Erling Haaland is going to make history in football as well by getting a youngest one to get a big salary when he gets to sign to the new club. But you don't know which club is going to sign Erling Haaland, but he's going to be getting paid a lot of money. He's going to be paid millions per season. I am sure he's going to be paid millions of euros or million euros or pounds if it goes to England. But let's continue. Dean Henderson has warned Davis De Gea he is a full power as it targets the Man United number one sports. The new guy who came, Henderson, the young one, was a goalkeeper for Manchester United. He's been on loan and he's been doing very well. And now De Gea, they're knocking on his door. De Gea might not get a gameplay if it doesn't do well. So let's continue. Roger Federer reported has made 440 million simply by dropping a 7 million clothing deal with Nike. Let's continue. With Daily Telegram, but Tammy Abraham has become the first England player to confirm he is vaccinated against coronavirus. Well done, Tammy Abraham. You won't have problems, bro. In future, you won't have problems. You're gonna get any place that you want to go. We Daily Mail. There are other papers as well. There's many and many and many and many. And maybe let me just end Daily Mail. It's Daily Mail, and Martin Odegaard is delighted with life at Arsenal after admitting it has been difficult for him to settle at Real Madrid. Okay, that's a story from Martin Odegaard, the player from Real Madrid who recently signed for Arsenal. Arsenal has been most spenders in the current window transfer, but they are not doing so good. Okay, Fulham are in talks with the teenager star Fabio Carvalho over a new long-term contract. Okay, Osman Edward has settled compensation around 20,000 with the man who has left the div in 1 year after being shot by an air rifle in a Frenchman fired in 2017. That's a story that is a Daily Mail. As let me wrap up the show before the hour of 2. At the time is 13:59. I talked about the new management for Newcastle takeover. I talked about Afghanistan. I talked about vaccination and fans going to the stadiums. That is all important. As I'm talking, please take care of yourself, take care of your family. When you go to sports fields, when you go to the clubs, just make sure you take care of yourself. You put mask on. You sanitize. You just take care of yourself so that people around you will be safe, and then you'll be safe as well. Protect yourself, and then as well do this. Follow us on Facebook on Car Radio. Just like our page of Car Radio, and also go to 24/7. It's live Monday to Sunday. 24/7. It's live on Radio Box. Just go to Radio Box online, radiobox.com, and search Car Radio. You're gonna find us live, and also just go to Tune In or download the Tune In app and search Car Radio 1. You're gonna find us there. We are live. Just find myself every Tuesday and Thursday from 12 to 2 here. You're gonna find the show Caesar Day, the Sport Buzz, with myself, Nkosy SA. As Nxumalo, follow myself on Facebook. Uthi Nkosy SA, or uye ku Instagram. Uphinde nakhona uthi Nkosy SA, uzobe usuthola mina ke lapho. Right now singiphuma, ngeke ngiphume ngedwa, ngizophuma with the Queen of the Palace ethi ungikhona. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in the show. Go radio, go Facebook, go YouTube. I love you. Please find me same time, same place on Tuesday, and giving you the results, and on the sports, and also on Thursdays giving you the news and the full news and sports. I love
Say